want to talk about unemployment, which is very rampant, which you have partly touched on. I also want to know about these initiative that you started last year, Future Bora Initiative. I just want to know a little bit about it and the demographics that it covers, what are its goals, and what have you done so far. I also wanted to talk about Kyo, which you have talked about. I want to know what it's about, because most people don't even know, like most youths, there are people who say they've never heard of it. So I want to know what it's about.
Slums, these are youth in conflict areas.
Yeah.
Those young people who are being recruited into radicalism, and this extremism and all that. So such youth at times don't get government support.
Yeah.
But there are organizations that specializes in reaching out to such young people. So we coined the Future Bora name to say that even such people who are in very hard to reach, difficult places to reach, hard to serve youth, can still be given a better future through this program. So we want to identify those organizations, capacity build them, and capacity build would mean we give them some money, we give them training, we enable them just to be able to serve more of such people, especially like the youth in the streets. When you go to help such people, you're not only going to give them a skill. First of all, you have to start with their mindset, changing their attitude, changing their mindset, then teaching them life skills. Then in the process also you provide for their basic needs. They don't have food, you have to provide for them. They don't have clothing, you have to. So the approach to such hard to serve children or youth is more difficult than the youth in other places. So that is the purpose of Future Bora.
Oh, okay.
Just to ensure that we identify groups and organizations that are serving these people and then enhance their capacity. The criteria is that once we identify you, we want to see your proposal, how impactful it is. So it is not just being identified, but we also look at your programs so that we assess and say that your programs are impactful. Then now you need to be supported. Yeah, so that is what it is. But the Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Project is a program that is being funded by the World Bank, supporting the ministry to be able to provide employment opportunities for young people. This program was designed way back in 2014 and concluded around 2015. And the objective was that at that time, you find that before the 100% transition from primary to secondary, and then that there were quite a number of dropouts between class 8 and form 4. And such a group of young people were disadvantaged in the sense that they didn't have skills, and they were in despair, and they could not be employed anywhere. So this program was designed for such people, and it is modeled in just two components. One of the component is what we are calling what we're calling it. Component one is the job outcomes, and this is where we train young people in the area of technical skills. So you are recruited into the program as a young person. You tell us the skill that you want to learn, and then if it is in a vocational training, we will take you there for 5 months. If such place don't exist, we use the apprentices, where you are assigned to a master craftsman, and who will train you on the job, give you the skills, and then after that you will be attached for 6 months to acquire now practical skills. Thereafter you can go and get employed. The success story is that we've so far trained about 40,000 young people in 17 counties, and as of before COVID, the transition rate to jobs was around 85%. That meant 85% had jobs consistently for 6 months, because again, our evaluation is not done that we want to see, have you, after you are employed, have you been able to sustain your job for 6 months and above? If it is below that, then that was not sustainable. So we're looking at how those jobs can be sustainable. So before COVID, 85% of our young people had jobs. The remaining 15%, most of them had started businesses and they were running them. So in terms of transition, we are looking at 100%. So it is a very effective program, and why it is effective is that before you go into your skill, you spend 1.5 months being taught on life skills. How do you survive? How do you cope? How do you adjust your mindset? How do you have a positive mindset to work? And so that program is looking at that. The other component is business development, where we give grants of 40,000 through now our sister implementing agency under the Ministry of Trade, Micro Small Enterprise Authority. Youth that are enrolled into the program are given 40,000 to buy equipment and to start small businesses. So what we found also is that those who have gone through the apprenticeship training, when they are given the money now, they are more sustainable because they have a skill, they have the tools. So most of the young people have been doing electricals, tailoring, fashion. Others have been doing even hair, that is beauty care. Others have been doing baking. Others have been doing whatever. And after that, you find somebody, if I'm into beauty care, I need salon equipment. With around 30,000, you're equipping a salon, and you have some money to start to rent to start you off. And so with your skill and the equipment, the young people are really doing sustainable work. Others with the same money, they go buy machines, tailoring machine, and they start fashion programs. If you recall, during the launch of the Kenyan Mimi, there is a young lady who spoke there. She was a house help. She came into the program. Now she has equipment worth about 200,000. She's employing 9 girls, other girls, and she calls herself boss lady, thanks to the Q program. So that is the other component. Then the third component is now building the capacity of us as the implementing agency. Policy, we look at policy, we look at how young people can benefit more from ACPO and all that. So that is Q for you. It is a job opportunity program where it is targeting the people without certificates. So if you don't have a Form 4 certificate, you are actually a candidate and a beneficiary.
So, as a matter of clarity, you talked about 17 counties. Does it mean that all the other 30 counties are not eligible, or how does it work?
The 17 counties were selected based on the high level of poverty in those counties, high level of youth unemployment, and the poverty index. So there was a criteria at the beginning. And so the 17 counties were the bottom 17 in terms of high poverty, high youth unemployment, idleness among the youth, and also there were cases of radicalization, extremism, and all that. So those counties were identified on the basis of that. We have Nairobi, we have Kiambu, we have Mombasa, we have Kilifi, we have Kwale, we have, I think, Mandera, we have Isiolo, we have Nakuru, we have Nyandarua, we have Turkana, we have Kisii, we have Kisumu, we have Migori, we have Bungoma, we have Busia, and I think Kakamega. So those are the counties that have high incidences of youth unemployment and high poverty levels.
So do you intend to extend to other counties as time goes by, or that's it for Kio?
Under the cure, that is, the program is coming to an end before the end of this year.
Yeah.
However, as government, we are now mobilizing resources so that we can scale up the program to be able to reach all the other counties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was CURE part of Vision 2030 or was it a foundation on its own?
Okay. Since 2008, when the government launched the Vision 2030, everything that is done by government is based on what was envisaged in the Vision 2030.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that the country was facing at that time was high unemployment. So, because of the high unemployment, programs were designed to address that, and CURE is one of them. TVETs, this launch of the vocational training in colleges, was another way of making young people ready for the job market, giving them skills with which they can make a living. The reforms in the education system, the CBC and all that, was trying to respond to the failures of the old system to make young people ready for jobs. So everything that you see being implemented has a basis or has an origin from the Vision 2030. That's why every 5 years we assess the environment again. We look at how far we've been successful in that, let's say, the first medium term, and then what are the emerging issues? Are they still valid, the ones which at the start? Then, as we design the second medium term, we see those which we are continuing with, those that are coming in, and those that are exiting. So we are on the third medium term plan. Youth unemployment is still a major issue. Yeah, still a major issue.
Okay, so after you said KYOP will end this year. So do you intend on extending it to future years, or that's it for KYOP?
We're in discussion with the World Bank on how to extend the program. It had a slow start. We've just picked up in the last 1 year, and we are at around 60%. So we want to see that we may not be able to have the remaining 40% before the end of the year. So there have also been savings in terms of program implementation, and we are talking now with the World Bank to say, with these savings and the 6 or 9 months we lost in COVID, can we extend the project for another 1 or 2 years? So those are things that we are discussing with them. In the meantime, we've already, in our budgeting process, we have factored the rollout to the rest of the country. So, but now we are hoping that the economy will be able to sustain more of the resources to the program.
So how does the ministry ensure transparency in such organizations?
CURE, we've embraced technology. There is very little interface between our officers and young people in terms of recruitment. So, like now we are in the process of recruiting Psycho 6, and young people, we've notified them in the social media and other platforms. They come to our website, apply, then the system just put them in a database. Then we have a program that randomizes. So it doesn't mean that maybe we rank you from 1 to whatever. There's just a random selection process where it just goes, if it falls on your name, if it's somebody else, and we normally invite people to come and witness when the randomization process is happening. So we set the system there, we show you the entire list of the applicants, then we now click enter. Then the thing just goes around, picking names like that, until we get the quota that we want. And then thereafter we will notify you using your phone as a young person that you've been successful. We will take you through.
So as we conclude, I just want to ask what were your functions as the PS? Like, far from the organizations that have informed KIOP and the Future Bora that you talked about, are there any other functions that you as a ministry was in charge of?
What do I say? The State Department is a department within the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth. Our mandate, as spelled out by the Executive Order by His Excellency the President, is that we are in charge of the implementation of the youth policy in the country. Now, this youth policy has about four things, four result areas that we are trying to deliver. One is youth economic empowerment. And here, our main objective is to enable young people to have decent incomes. We may not be able to create jobs or other things, but we link young people to opportunities. Now, economic empowerment for us is one, enabling young people to be job ready. And this morning we just launched one of our programs that is looking at that. We're calling it Accelerate. Accelerate. This is where we go to Nairobi, let's say universities. We get recent graduates or those who are just about to graduate. We go to, let's say, like now today we were launching at Kenya Airways. We sit with Kenya Airways and say, okay, what are your problems? Business problems. They list. Once they tell us we are looking at this, the next thing now we come and look at the database of the graduates that we have. So if they have a marketing problem, we'll pull about 20 marketing students or graduates, and then they sit with the company and now brainstorm on how to create solutions for those problems. So we are calling that job labs. With that, once the corporate accepts the solutions that are suggested by young people, the young people will have gotten experience to address a real business challenge. And the young people will put that into their CVs, and in the process, they'll have had experience. As part of the input from the corporate, apart from getting the solutions from the youth, now they will assign mentors and coaches to tell these young people in HR what do they expect, what is the attitude, what is the employer looking at. They are assigned to marketing or executives, business executives, to coach and mentor these young people for a period of like 2 months. By the time they finish that, they'll have been exposed to real work environment, and they will have also tackled a business problem. The other area on youth economic empowerment is entrepreneurship, which again through the Youth Fund, Wezo Fund, and Women Enterprise Fund, we encourage young people to create jobs for themselves. And also those who have talents like yourself now in the media. How can we enable you to earn from your talents? So if I'm a comedian, if I'm a singer, if I'm whatever it is, I am a sports person, we create platforms where such talents are identified and they start making money. The other theme, which I want to finish quickly, is on youth participation and involvement. This is where we want young people to be included when government is making policy, when the country is looking for leaders, when political, civil education and engagement and civil duty and advocacy. So through the National Youth Council, we champion this youth participation and involvement. The third one is the youth social empowerment, and this is where we are just looking at the social, the health and psychosocial support that young people need. There are a lot of stresses they go through. How do we support them to tackle them? Values and patriotism, how do we impact youth in crime, and how do we help them to avoid such things? Radicalization, how do we help them to identify recruiters and how to avoid. So those are the things that we do on the youth social empowerment. The last is the youth mainstreaming, and this is where we want to see that youth are considered in everything that happens in the country, be it in government, be it in private sector, be it in civil society. How do people prioritize youth activities in what they do? So in a nutshell, that is what we do as a State Department. Bottom line is youth empowerment. Okay. Economic, social, youth participation, and mainstream
So there's another question that has popped up as you conclude. So the question is, moving forward, you talked about CUP and Future Bora is basically about helping individuals. So the question is, how does the ministry plan to partner with youth initiatives in youth empowerment and development? Aside from, also you've talked about SMEs. Do they have specific ones for youth, or do they are general for empowerment?
As I've told you, customer is youth.
Okay.
That is the bottom line.
Okay.
Youth as an individual, youth as in a group. Those are our customers. Then the question is, what is the major issue that youth are facing? It is unemployment.
Yeah.
Not even unemployment, lack of income.
Yeah.
Actually, at the bottom, you go to job because you want money.
Yeah.
So the challenge that is facing and the preoccupation of every young person is, how do I make money?
Okay.
So, and for them to make money is for them to become economically independent. So as a State Department, that is our concern. How do we link young people to opportunities so that they can have sustainable incomes?
Okay.
And so we don't discriminate. So long as you're between 18 and 35, you are our customer. The programs that we roll out are targeted at those people, either as an individual or as a group. We don't deliver alone because, again, it will be impossible. We work with partners. And this is where we work with NGOs, we work with UN bodies, we work with international bodies. And through the National Youth Policy, we have a framework where all these partners come together. Us as a ministry, we say these are the priorities for Kenyan youth. Now, you as an international body, what do you do? What do you pick? So we prepare that menu, then they pick, and then we monitor.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on such short notice. It was a pleasure meeting you. Viewers, that is all for today. With us today was the PS State Department of Youth, Mr. Julius Korir. Looking forward to more interviews. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
She done do me why, oh, but she done spent my money, oh.